and welcome to the Brazilian BA Guest. We are having here a special episode talking with some of the presenters of the Building Business Capability Conference that's going to be happening in June on 26 to 30, if I'm not wrong. And my guest here today is going to talk about people skills. And this guest is Judy, author, my friend, the optimistic BA. Thank you for coming, Judy.
Oh, you are welcome, Fabrizio, and hello, everyone. It's an honor to be on your show.
Oh, the honor.
In the not too distant future, you'll be on my show, so it all works out. The Brazilian BA and the optimistic BA. They get the double dose today, I guess,
You know, we're like a kind of heroes from the Marvel universe, and so you have Captain America in the Spider-Man's movie, and so you have the opposite, and Doctor Strange, and so that's the time for you to be on my show.
Right, and I have my optimistic BA glasses and my shirt, which also probably qualifies for IIBA colors, but, so I'm ready.
All right, so you're ready for my question. My question for you today, Judy, is why are people afraid of change?
Well, I think any time that there is the element of the unknown and risk that people are afraid. Many times you're dealing with change in your career. And if your company is undergoing a reorganization, you don't know how it's going to affect you. And I went through several changes, reorganizations, whatever you want to call them, in my career in corporate America. And I was always pretty calm about it. But a lot of people got so upset, they would almost just drive themselves to having to go to a psychiatrist. And once again, I could see if maybe you were a single parent where that would be a bad thing. But I really am a firm believer. People sometimes stay in their comfort zone too long. The comfort zone, you're not learning. And that's meant to be a pit stop, not a destination. And so people, they need to be lifelong learners. If you're not learning, you're not living. And I firmly believe that you need to get comfortable with being slightly uncomfortable. And that's because that's what happens when you're in the learning zone. And I don't know that a lot of people view it that way, and they just get so scared. I know that in personal experience, it was a big step for me to decide to take early retirement and start my own business. I mean, that was a big risk. And there was a couple of my friends who were pushing me. You need to do this. You need to do this. And they were right. But further, we had one very painful reorganization that I got hit bad. And that is when I ultimately became a BA. And so it's probably the best thing that ever happened to me when I look at it. And so I think if you can take the risk, you can really find endless possibilities. And I didn't always think like that, but I really do now. And, life is short. You really need to not be afraid to change.
And looking for risks or for uncertainty and waiting for the good, right. I believe that makes you need to be an optimistic person, right?
Exactly. And that's how I have always been. And I feel that it just helps to make life that much easier.
So. I know that you present something on BBC called Number One Priority in Successful Change Projects. Yes. Could you tell us a little bit about what are you talking there?
Sure. The last 8 or so years of my career, I specifically worked on large strategic projects. One of the things that I talk about is how in today's business world, change happens faster than ever. Like I can remember back when you just had to wait like 6 months to do anything. And now they can do it almost in a few weeks, just things like that. And so the expectations have risen. And what I have found sometimes, though, is that people almost have too high of expectations as to how quickly you can do something, and at least do it correctly. Now, the first, and I talk about these two projects that I was on because they were big transformation projects. And I talk about things we didn't do so well on the first one. It lasted probably a couple of years more than it was supposed to, and we were just a few million over budget. But the system works, and it's still in use today, and it really, really transformed the life underwriting area. And we got the people in the department involved, and I'll explain the effect it had on their careers. And I think the more transparent you can be in a project like that is better for the people, because I think it helps to calm them, that the number one priority is not to decrease positions, but to help them increase their productivity and make things easier. And a couple times we had to make things harder before they were easier. But once we got them involved with us a bit in the project, I think that helped to smooth things. And I think in today's world, there's just that what's in it for me attitude. And I feel it's a little more prevalent than it maybe was 20 years ago. I just have seen it evolve. But one of the things that my talk centers around is that the most important thing in a change project is the people. That, I know I've just given away my secret, but it'll be in my PDF, and they want my PDF in May. So people are going to,
Yes, and you presented telling the stories about the situations you have lived, and that must be very interesting. I'm curious about that, and I hope to watch it in June.
I really feel that when any of us speak, it's not. We all have good theory and things like that, but it's not so much what's on the slides. I mean, you can really Google some of that stuff. Now, some of it is things we've done ourselves, and we have our own spin on it. But the stories we can tell, I think, are the most enjoyable.
Sure.
And there were some things that my company didn't do perfect. That doesn't mean I'm, talking against the company, but it just, they didn't quite get the culture part of it right. And, you can do change in a good way, and you can do change in a bad way. And, I have done it both ways.
And usually mistakes are the most valuable lessons we take.
Fail, first attempt in learning. I'm the first one to say. And I was not a careless person with details, but when I did make a mistake, it was legendary. It was things that people would talk about for days, So, but I still hung around, and I think it's just, if you can talk to people about the new opportunities that the change will present, and be as transparent as you can with them. Sometimes you don't actually know what the changes are, but the sooner you can do that, I think you ease their nerves. And the problem with a long-term transformation project is that sometimes employees will leave because they're not seeing what's going on in their area. And a lot of times you lose good employees, and employees who wouldn't even have been, near losing a job. And that's the good thing about the projects I worked on. We did combine where there was like a function where there was like 3 different people that handled it, and we did get it down to 2, but no one lost their job. And so that was the thing that was exciting, was that, but there's some pretty funny aspects of my stories. So, I think it'll be good.
I invite everyone to watch your stories at BBC. Thank you, Judy, for coming. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Sure, Fabricio. It's always fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in June.
BBC. It's going to be fun.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody.